Welcome to Tech Talent Today, where IT leaders share their tough challenges, creative solutions, and latest insights. You'll discover fresh ideas and inspiration here with your host, IT staffing veteran and president of Claremont Technologies, Jody Kulik-Mayer. And now, here's Jody.
Welcome to a special International Women's Day edition of Tech Talent Today. Today, we're honored to have Vinti Luthra, a seasoned tech professional with over 25 years' experience. As the Senior Manager of Solution Delivery and Operations at a global imaging solutions firm, Vinti leads a team managing a multi-million-dollar B2B portfolio. In this episode, we'll not only dive into Vinti's tech journey, but also explore pivotal moments like her decision to pursue a tech career, her insights on maintaining work-life balance, and the impact of having a mentor. Additionally, we'll discuss current statistics surrounding women in tech, shedding light on the challenges and opportunities in the industry. Join us for an insightful conversation with Vinti Luthra. Welcome, Vinti. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you, Jody, for having me.
And happy International Women's Day. So thrilled to have you as my guest. So, how long do we know each other? Is it like 15 years now?
I think so. Yeah.
Time flies, right? Like, think of what happens in 15 years. It's like you have children and they're growing up. It's amazing.
It is. Yeah, I don't think I was a mom before I met you.
Right.
Now I have two.
Wow. And like, I think that's the best part about like being in like IT staffing and recruiting, that I like get to know people like you, and we have such a long-term friendship and relationship.
Yep.
So yeah, that's wonderful. So how long have you been working in technology?
So I started in technology right after I did my master's. So 97, so it's what, 26 plus years.
Wow.
I started as a software developer. Then I did that for, I think, 8-9 years. Then I said, okay, the technology is changing just too rapidly, and I like the business part of it as well. So I was like, okay, why don't I work into an analyst role where I could work with business, understand what they need, and then apply that to build a technology, a system for that. So I moved on to being an analyst, and from there, manager, and now I'm managing a portfolio of applications, systems to help business with their needs, enable them to do work more efficiently, generate more revenue.
I think that's great because, right, you're applying the technology, right? Which I think I mean, when people love coding and that's great, but it's good you have the whole bigger picture and you could sort of see the result
Yes, I love
of your
that
work.
aspect of it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you end up in a tech career?
So I grew up in India, and at that generation, it was primarily choice of become a doctor, become an engineer, become a teacher. And I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be held responsible for life and death scenarios.
That's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure. So I don't want to do that. Teacher, I have two siblings, younger. So I used to help them with their lessons. I used to help some of my classmates with their lessons, and I felt like I didn't have the patience for it. With my siblings, I could just pop them on the head and say, "Hey, why aren't you getting this?" Obviously, I couldn't do that with my classmates, but I figured, okay, that's not it for me. So I was like, okay, let's go into engineering for now, and then we'll see where it takes us. And that's how I ended up in
Wow.
engineering, and then
I think it's interesting that a lot of times women just feel like there's just certain roles available to them. Like
Yes.
we were talking about before, like my mom said when she was growing up, she thought she could be like a secretary or a nurse or a teacher. And like out of those choices, she felt most suited for a teacher. But
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that two of your choices were like doctor and engineer. So, right, it's like
Yes.
that's come a long way. Now, did you have um, anyone in your life while growing up that was in technology?
So my dad is an engineer. I always looked up to him, and he actually told me not to go into engineering.
Really? Why did he say that?
So he always insisted. He always had a very good work-life balance. He would never bring work home. We would never talk about work. We would play. We would just spend time together. A lot of travel. He loves traveling. He still loves traveling. So his thought was that becoming an engineer or a doctor or any of those professions, it's harder to maintain that balance for a woman, especially because we were still in that era where primary caregiving was just a woman's responsibility, right, by default. In Hindi, it was even harder to find a partner that would share those responsibilities. It's changed, but at that, think almost 30 years ago, that's what the mind was. That's what the thought process was. So he had actually tried to tell me go into teaching, but like I mentioned earlier, I was like, I don't have the patience. So he because he was an engineer, I thought I just wanted to follow his footsteps.
So once you decided to go in that direction, was he supportive
Oh
of
yeah,
you?
and he for his generation was an extremely liberal man. He didn't have, so I have a brother and a sister. We were always treated similarly. So there was no bias. So he didn't say that, okay, because you are a woman, do this, or because you're a man, you have to do this. So he is like, it's your choice in the end. You're going to live through it, whatever you want. I'm here to support you.
That is wonderful, and it's really lucky
Oh,
that
yes.
you had a dad like that, right? Because not everybody did.
Yes.
I'm lucky as well because my dad also, even though he like grew up very conservatively, when he had my sister and me, he right, he said like we can do anything
Yeah.
and was very supportive and did not put us in gender roles.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great thing. So you mentioned work life balance. So do you feel like in technology throughout your career, and I guess more when you become a mom, that's when you really need the work life balance.
Yes.
Um, do you feel like you'll be able to maintain it? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
So, yeah, when I started, obviously, when I was single and I was still learning young, right? I wanted to learn and learn. I would put 60 hours, 70 hours, even 80 hours at work, right? That was a priority at that time. And plus, I was young, so I could still enjoy life, right? I could still party out, I could travel, I could still do other things. The body was not limited.
That's right.
As I grew older and got married, had kids, and then parents, the priorities changed. So I had to make that conscious choice, right? I had to set the expectations to my managers clear that, hey, my priorities are changing. I can't do 80 hours anymore. I'm going to give you whatever our working hours is 100%, but after I log off, I log off. So I've been lucky throughout my career, have had excellent managers who understand that. And that's something that I think most women don't realize, that when you have to ask for it. You have to set those expectations because they're not going to assume that that's what you need, especially men.
Right.
You know how.
Right. Right. So
So I,
yeah,
I I made those transitions. Every step I made that conscious choice. I spoke to my management, whoever was managing me at that time, that okay, this is what I can do. This is not what I can do. And it also helped me grow professionally, because then as I grew in my career, I also had reports, right? So I learned to coach, to delegate. I didn't have to do all of that stuff all by myself. So actually, it helped grow to grow me, that and learn how to do both. So I didn't sacrifice professionally, and I didn't sacrifice in my personal life.
Right. That's very well managed. I don't even want to say lucky. That is, you
No,
completely
I guess
manage
some of
that.
it is I guess just because I happen to have all great managers who understood, right? If I had someone who didn't know, do it my way or go find something else, then I wouldn't have been able to, right?
Right, right. And so it was never not well received? Like, it was always well
No,
received?
I've been extremely lucky.
Yeah, that's great. And did you have a hard time learning to delegate, or you just
Oh,
had,
yes.
yeah.
Oh,
I have a hard
yes.
time with that too, so I'm just wondering what the secret.
Oh, yes. My first mentor, um, he actually helped me see it through a different perspective. He passed, rest his soul in peace, but he helped me see that. He goes, Venti, think of a delegation as coaching someone, as you stepping up to do other things that are more strategic, that are more. So he walked me through some steps and how to do that, and it really helped. But yes, it was it hard to let go. Oh my God.
Right. Yeah, I struggle with that as well. Um, so you said, I guess one of your first mentors. Did you look for a mentor? Did you find him by accident? Did he take you under his wing? Like, people talk to me about how do you find a mentor? What did you do?
So sometimes your organizations have a program, especially geared towards women. Sometimes just it's open to all. So I was lucky to have it through that, but um, I've been lucky again with most of my managers who've acted both as a mentor and as a manager. But yeah, if you don't have that opportunity through the organization, just ask someone you respect and admire, and you'll be surprised. Most people are willing to help and coach and guide and mentor you. You just have to ask. Sometimes we get in that block that what will they think? Will they help? Will they not help? But no, most people are helpful. So just ask. If you admire someone, respect someone, want to be like someone, go ahead.
Okay. Now, are any of your mentors women?
Actually, it was a choice. I asked for it to be a male mentor just because
Wow.
I always wanted to see their perspective, because I knew what women's perspective was. I wanted to see from their point of view what women would need to do differently, or what we are doing differently that we need to do, similar to the majority people in the workforce, unfortunately. So
It,
I made a conscious choice to have a male mentor.
that is interesting because before we got on our call today, I was looking up, statistics about women in technology. And this one is from November of 2023. And they said women currently hold only 26.7% of tech related jobs. So, like a
Yeah.
quarter.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, right, it's probably harder to find like a woman mentor.
It is. It is. Um, I think I have 27, 26 plus years, almost 27, I think. I've had only one woman manager in my career.
Wow. Yeah. Now, do you, I guess, mentor anyone as well aside from your children? That's right.
They don't listen to me, but
That, that's so true.
no, I try to guide my team and mentor them. but I haven't yet officially enrolled in the program to be a mentor.
Right. Well, maybe because you still need your work-life balance, right? When your children go to college, then maybe that's something
Yes, yes.
you would consider. Um, do you think like there's been any positive changes in the industry regarding gender diversity, like that you've seen in your career?
Yeah, so most companies are making that conscious effort to do that, um, with this hybrid and remote cultural shift that came upon us unexpectedly. But I think that plus conscious movements to enable caregiving, um, all those things, I think will lead us women to not have to make the choice that they have to sacrifice professionally. Well, like you just said, that statistics 26% women in technology. If you look at the leadership roles, it's way less.
Right.
Like I said, I've had only one woman manager through my 27 years.
Wow. Yeah, it's
So we
true.
tend to drop off when those pressures get to us.
Yes. And one of the other stats that I read, it said the percentage of women in all tech related careers has actually decreased over the last 2 years.
I
I
didn't know that.
know. Yeah, I was surprised about that, though maybe because of the pandemic and caregiving, right? That school was not like regular, right? That sometimes it was remote, it was very
Yeah.
chaotic. And I think like a lot of times that falls to the women. Like you were saying that your dad, like, right, the expectation was like, right, women did most of the
Yep.
child rearing, caregiving.
Yes.
Um, I think it's maybe still sort of like that.
Oh yeah. It's assumed that women will take care of it, right? And again, like I said, you have to ask for it.
Right.
Not just in your
Including your
professional life,
husband.
but
Include
even in personal life. You have to ask for it. Hey, I need help here.
Right. Right. You would think, right, with remote working, it might be a little bit easier to manage, like things that happen at school and with your children. Um, I mean, I've found it that way, but I guess that statistic is what it is. But
Right.
I
I'm
was
surprised.
surprised.
That's what I thought too, that it helped. But
Maybe that still needs to come around, right? We're coming
yeah,
out of the pandemic, getting back to,
yeah,
I guess, the new normal. Like the normal keeps changing, so I don't know which new normal we're on.
yes.
Right. Um, and like the last statistic I thought that was interesting is that they said um, the percentage of women pursuing STEM subjects in higher education is on the decline, and women achieve just 18% of new computer science degrees. I
That is very sad because I do believe that I'm biased, obviously, but women are have more analytical brain process, are hardworking, um, honest, have more integrity, and we are also more better at managing time and competing priorities. So I would hope that more women join these streams, these because like I've told you multiple times I don't enjoy public speaking. Right?
right.
This
You're
career
so nice to
choice,
come on.
this career choice lets me do what I love to do, but still keeps me behind the scenes, so to say.
Right.
So STEM technologies, I mean, if that's something that bothers you, it helps you do that too.
Uh,
But yeah, I really think that more women should pursue it. It's not a difficult industry. It is fun, and it keeps your brain challenged, and we are capable of that. The biggest thing is we are capable of that.
Absolutely. Um, it's interesting because I do see that, a lot of like women in India do pursue a computer science degree. Because, right, so in recruiting in the IT space, that is what I see. So maybe I don't know what they're doing in India to make women pursue it, but we need to do that in the US.
Yeah. Education is considered extremely important in India, especially the middle class, the upper middle class. Um, it's and like I said, those were the choices then: doctor, engineer, teacher, lawyer. But now, obviously, there's more choices. But yes, so there's girls enrolling in all those more and more. When I was in college, I think we had maybe 25 girls in a batch of 400 kids.
Wow, that's amazing.
But I know that it's much better proportion now.
Right, right. Um, so did you feel like uncomfortable or at a disadvantage in that case, or it's just something that was and you didn't really think about it?
I actually didn't. Even in at work, I didn't think about it until another coworker pointed it out. So I was in this managers meeting, and I had been attending those for some time, since I became a manager. But another coworker had recently become a manager, and she joined me the first time, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is all men." And then I noticed, and I look around like, "Oh yeah."
Right, you didn't even think about it.
I hadn't even, so again, I've been lucky where I haven't, I mean, I can't say I haven't faced it at all. I have, but not as blatantly or openly as, unfortunately, some women have. And I have had to work harder to earn respect from male reports or peers or even managers. But once I've once I earned that respect, that yes, I'm as capable as a male manager would be, or as smart as a male manager would be, um, then I've gotten cooperation from them.
Right. So what advice would you give to women who are considering a career in IT?
Oh, I can tell you it's fun. And if you, it changes all the time. The technologies, I started with Fortran, COBOL. Now it's the word of generative AI. So it's a constant change. So you never feel stagnant. You're never, if you are like to learn and just move from one thing to the other, this enables that. It is one of those fields, like I said, I didn't want to be a doctor because that would have been too much pressure, and that's harder to maintain work-life balance in. But this does allow you to do that. There's a ton of opportunities where you can be remote, where you can have flex times. So yeah, I think more women should do this.
Right. And just from the recruiting perspective, these are like highly compensated roles,
That's true. That's true.
right?
It
So,
is.
right, just you said all the brain power to keep you interested and challenged, and there's flexibility and the money.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. No, that is an important aspect.
right, it's the whole picture there. Um, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners on International Women's Day?
Just to reiterate that, be honest to yourself, ask for what you want, and you will get it.
Great. advice. Vinti, I really enjoyed our conversation today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
I'm so glad.
Thanks for listening to Tech Talent Today, brought to you by Clearmont Technologies IT Staffing and Search. You can find out more at clearmonttech.com. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and share. See you next time.